Hello FPL managers, yes, we are back with another video for the Fantasy Premier League 2021-22 season. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. We're trying to find out who the next Alexander Arnold is, who the next John Lundstrom is, who the next Dallas is going to be. If you're new to the channel, we drop FPL content once every week and we intend to do that until the season begins. So if you're trying to find out who the next budget defender who's going to take over FPL for this season, then follow us. Let's get straight into it. So in recent seasons, we've had budget defenders who have come into the league and have become the darling of every fantasy Premier League manager. In the 2018-2019 season, we had Trent Alexander-Arnold. He was rated £5 million and he put up really amazing numbers, scored a goal, 13 assists, and the next season he increased to 7 million, and everyone was like, wow, that's really expensive for a defender. That was because he was very attacking. He had very good attacking numbers and great stats in general, because he had 12 clean sheets that season. So he came in the next season rated 7 million and he still performed, did really well. The season after that was last season, 7.5 million, and this season he stayed consistent, 7.5 million as well. So he's a defender who has come in and made his mark, and he's basically almost like an attacking player, not necessarily a defensive player, but with all the clean sheets that you can get from these types of players, it really boosts their total numbers at the end of the season. So you would want to have these types of defenders in your teams, and they come in two forms. You can either have very attacking fullbacks in the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, or you could have them as John Lundstrom, who was mispositioned as a defender but actually plays in midfield, just like Dallas did last season. He played in defense but was also pushed forward by Bielsa to play closer to goal in midfield. So that led to a lot of shots on target, a lot of shots being taken, and eventually a lot of goals, because Dallas had 8 goals last season. He created 3 assists, 3 big chances, total of 26 chances created, and he had 12 clean sheets. So not only is he getting a lot of attacking returns, but he's also benefiting from all the clean sheets that Leeds have. So we're trying to uncover exactly which player could possibly have this same effect this season, and we made a lot of progress. And if certain factors are fulfilled, I have every confidence that these players that we have selected are going to have the same effect on our teams. So for starters, we're going to be looking at Ryan Sessignon. He announced himself to the Premier League with Fulham in the 2018-2019 season, and he was rated as a midfielder back then. He was 6.5 million if I recall, and he scored 2 goals and 7 assists, created 6 big chances, created 33 chances on the whole. Over the course of the season, he eventually transitioned into defense, and he moved to Spurs the following season, but he didn't do too well, and that's the reason why he got loaned out. Last season he was on loan for Hoffenheim. I think he scored 2 goals and 3 assists. So this player is really still very much attacking, and still quite young. He's just 21 years of age right now, so he broke into the scene really early, and we're hoping that if the new manager for Spurs switches his formation to a 3-5-2, if Nuno is able to do that, and we know that he's quite adept at using this formation. He did so well with Wolves with a 3-5-2, but ever since he switched to 4 at the back, his team wasn't really so strong in defense. But if he eventually switches to a 3-5-2, I believe that Sessignon is going to enjoy playing in that formation. The question then comes in, what happens to Reguilon? Well, I believe probably Reguilon would most likely start ahead of Sessignon, but if Reguilon gets an injury, or if Nuno decides to play Reguilon as a left centre back, maybe, I don't know. But if Sessignon somehow manages to cement his opposition for that Spurs team, he's going to enjoy a lot of attacking returns while benefiting from every clean sheet that Spurs have. Okay, so this is a player you want to keep in your watch list, and pay attention to exactly how Nuno uses him, or if he's going to use him at all. And if he does, then he's somebody that you might want to have in your teams. Okay, another player who might benefit from Nuno being at Spurs is Matt Doherty. Matt Doherty announced himself into the Premier League with 4 goals and 7 assists, but his most prolific season, he scored 167 points on FPL, and he played less minutes and scored 4 goals and 8 assists, created 2 big chances, 21 chances created in total, 16 shots on target, 35 shots in total, and 12 clean sheets. So Wolves were really good with a 3-5-2 formation, so we don't know if that is something that Nuno might be thinking about. If he does, probably Matt Doherty might rekindle that spark under his old manager, and you might want to keep an eye on Matt Doherty. He might be back under Nuno. Okay, so if he can hit those heights from the past, then he's definitely going to be a good asset to have, who can probably replicate those Dallas numbers. Okay, now the next player that we're going to consider is former Barcelona left back Junior Firpo. He couldn't oust Jordi Alba from the left back position at Barcelona, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bad player. Junior Firpo did really well at Red Betis before he moved to Barcelona. He put up some really good numbers, scored 3 goals, made 4 assists, created 2 big chances, 20 chances created in total. He took 19 shots in total, 7 on target, 7 clean sheets. So he's a really good player. You could be saving yourself 0.5 million by replacing Dallas with Firpo in your teams. He could easily be positioned in midfield also, because he has very good passing stats. I think his pass accuracy is about 90%. So if he's not replacing Alioski in defense, he could easily be positioned in midfield by Bielsa, because his passing stats are quite good. And if you think back and remember how Bielsa really wanted to keep Ben White at Leeds because of how good he was on the ball for Leeds, then you can understand why he's probably going for Firpo, a very good ball-playing defensive player, a player who's quite good at contributing to the attack. So don't be surprised if Firpo gets pushed a little bit further closer to goal like Dallas was. So keep him in your watch list, keep an eye on him, keep an eye on how he's used by Bielsa, and you could easily jump on these assets as soon as he starts yielding results. Okay, so that's our player from Leeds, who's replacing a Leeds player who benefited us a lot last season, Junior Firpo, left back for Leeds. The next player to consider is James Justin. He announced himself to the league last season. He scored 2 goals and 2 assists, created 4 big chances, 20 chances created in total, 3 shots on target, total shots 10, the clean sheets 9. Even though he's currently injured right now, we don't know exactly when he'll be back, but he's one asset that you might want to keep an eye on because he did so well last season. He only played 2,070 minutes, and his season was cut short because of injury, but he was well on his way to hitting really high numbers last season before that injury. So he's someone that you might want to keep an eye on. If he comes back and he's still in form, he looks like he hasn't missed a step, then you could easily quickly bring him in. He's just about 5 million, so he's not exactly budget, but he's a lot more affordable than some of the other assets that we have on FPL being suggested to us, like the Cresswells and the Lucas Dignes. You know, those types of players, they cost 5.5 million in defense. So if you want to have a player who has a very high ceiling but a bit cheaper than these other players, then James Justin is the guy you should be looking at. He had 13 bonus points as at the time he got injured. And if you consider that Dallas had just 15 points of the entire season, you'd get a better idea of how very influential James Justin was in both attack and in defense. He was very good last season. So he's someone that we shouldn't forget about, and he's someone we should keep in our watch list, keep an eye on. As soon as he's back, you start assessing him and decide if he's good enough for your teams. Okay, so that's our next asset to consider, James Justin of Leicester City. Up next is Tariq Lamptey of Brighton. He's a player that I personally believe is the next to Dallas. He made just 11 appearances last season. His season was cut off because of injury. Only 887 minutes were played, but he scored 1 goal, made 3 assists, created 2 big chances, 10 chances created in total. 2 shots on target, 6 shots in total, 2 clean sheets. A lot of those appearances he barely made up to 60 minutes before getting substituted out because of injury. So he's another player that if he's back, you might want to keep an eye on him because of how he plays. He's very attacking. He contributes a lot to the attack. And if the rumors are true, and Brighton are actually going to go for Martin Braithwaite of Barcelona, or if they're actually going to get Hudson Edward with the Ben White money, then we could see a very, very productive Tariq Lamptey this season. He made only 2 bonus points last season, but I expect that if he's fully fit and he plays the entire season, he's going to rack in a lot of points. So he's a player that I really think is going to be very, very, very good this season, and you guys should really keep an eye on him. He's probably going to be the next Dallas. Okay. As a bonus player to consider, while researching these players, I came across something interesting. I was looking at Luke Shaw, and I was comparing him to Kieran Tierney of Arsenal. And if you look at their numbers side by side last season, Luke Shaw was rated £5 million last season, and Tierney was rated £5.5 million last season. But if you put their numbers side by side together, they're basically doing the exact same thing. They both scored 1 goal. Shaw had 5 assists. Tierney had 4. They created Shaw created 7 big chances. Tierney created 5. Shaw created a lot of chances in total, 72. That's more than twice of what Tierney created. That was 31 chances created in total. Shots on target, Shaw had 6, Tierney had 3. Total shots taken, Shaw had 11 and Tierney had 15. Clean sheets in total, Shaw had 10 and Tierney had 8. Okay, so even though Shaw had more appearances, he appeared for 32 matches, and Tierney appeared for just 27. If you kind of balance it out, they're basically doing the exact same thing. But the thing is, probably the reason why Shaw is rated 5.5 million this season is because he's got some set piece responsibilities for Manchester United. So that's probably the reason why he has he costs more at the moment. And also Tierney kind of plays left centre back for Arsenal. At least that was what he was doing at the beginning of last season. So he was playing LCB for on a 3 at the back formation. So if Arsenal switch back to a 4 at the back and Tierney is playing left back, then he may be putting up even more numbers than he was last season. Last season he made 125 crosses in total, and Shaw made 189. So there isn't much disparity between both players in terms of the number of crosses that they are making. Shaw though has more chances created, no doubt about that. But if you are trying to save 0.5 million on a player, then probably getting in Tierney instead of a 5.5 million player might not be such a bad idea, because if he's completely fit for the entire season and he's playing left back for Arsenal in a back 4, then he's going to definitely be getting you a lot of returns. And considering that Arsenal had the third best defense last season, then you might be looking at a very good player indeed. Okay, so these are the players that I want you guys to consider when you're looking out for that budget defender, that mid-range defender who could take over FPL for this season. These guys, you probably should just have them in your watch list, and whichever one of them looks to be in really good form, you know, in 2-3 games they're hitting really high numbers or doing really well, then you probably want to jump on them earlier than everybody else. That will probably give you the edge in your mini leagues. Okay, so that's the video. Hope this was very helpful to you. Our next video, we're going to be updating our draft. There are some slight changes that we're going to be making to that draft. If you haven't checked out our draft, please check the description box. I'm going to be leaving a link to that below. The video or the updated version is going to be dropping towards the end of the week, so I'm going to try and get that one out to you guys. So that's it. Cheers, have fun, and I'll catch you on the next one.